Hi, this is Brett Ingram, award-winning entrepreneur, and today I want to share with you 10 ways for entrepreneurs to take care of their health. You know, entrepreneurs often face unique challenges that can impact their health because we have long hours oftentimes. We have high stress. We have constant pressure to succeed. And one of the things that often gets neglected, or one of the things that we often overlook and just take for granted, is our health. And that happens until and unless it fails on us. And when it does, we recognize how important it was. We long for just feeling better again. And we lament the fact that we didn't take better care of it. So it's far smarter to be able to be a little bit proactive about it and take care of things in advance, even though it might take away from a little bit of productivity or it might take a little bit away from hours that we can work. The fact is, by keeping everything, working well within ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our spirit, everything else, we are going to be that much more effective as entrepreneurs. As Stephen Covey used to call it, sharpening the saw, right? We are the saw. We're cutting the wood. So if we dull, if we aren't able to be as effective as what we do, then the whole operation breaks down. Same idea. So we are the engine that drives our business, and we need to be running in top form for our businesses to do the same. If we break down, so does our business. So, I guess like the old saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of the cure. The fact of the matter is, it's very easy to take health for granted because we're so busy. We don't even really think about it, let alone neglect it consciously. It just isn't even on our minds. I know when I was working and I was starting my business, as soon as I transitioned to full time, I was very, very busy working full time, raising a family, going to graduate school, all that other stuff. So I was only working a little here, a little there, but I wasn't sleeping much then either. But once I started it full time, I actually was doing the same thing. I was working sometimes, 12 hours was a normal day, sometimes 14 or sometimes even 16 hours a day. And I wasn't really doing anything else. I wasn't, taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of my health. And I knew I couldn't sustain it long term. Thankfully, I didn't need to. But for many of us, we get into this situation where we're just sort of going, and we don't even stop to think about it. And then unfortunately, if something really bad happens, it's sort of like the you-know-what hits the fan, and all of a sudden we're scrambling to figure out how we can salvage this and what we can do to fix it. And then we wish we took better care of our health. So I want to share 10 ways that we can take care of our health proactively in advance, so we can do that while we navigate the demands of our businesses and of our ventures. Because the fact is, our ability to prioritize things and our ability to manage our schedule and everything else, first of all, there's no such thing as I don't have time. All that really means is that isn't enough of a priority for me. If somebody said to you in your business, you could land the biggest client or you could make X amount of money and you had a packed schedule today, and if you took this one other meeting or did this one other thing, it would quadruple your sales, you'd find time. All of a sudden, we would be able to find time because we would prioritize it. We would forget everything else because this now would become the most important thing. So it's important to understand first the way that we lie to ourselves and the way that we talk to ourselves. Oftentimes, we pretend like we don't have time. We control our own time whether we think we do or not. Everything we do is a decision that we make. Yes, some of them, our hand might be forced. I do have to go pick up my son from school. I do still make the decision to do it. I get in the car, I drive up there, I stop my work day and all that. But obviously he does need a ride, but it still is a decision that I'm making. And I think it's important to recognize that anytime that we're spending time on work, that's a decision we're making. And so it's important to be able to factor in some of these other things and make conscious decisions to prioritize them. So for one, we need to prioritize sleep. Sleep is a big one. I was never a big believer in sleep. I believed that old adage, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I thought all that stuff. And I believed for a long time that sleep was, sort of unimportant and I could just soldier on through whatever. As exhausted as I was, as bleary-eyed as I was, I had a really strong work ethic. And I thought at the time it sort of made me tough. It made me strong. What I realized after I started to read research and started to see anecdotal evidence of things is that it doesn't make you tough, it makes you stupid. Because when you don't sleep enough, your body can't recharge. I'm not going to get into all the medical and physical and biological things that happen, but basically we release chemicals while we sleep, when we're in a deep sleep, that rejuvenate our body, that heal our body, and that get us back to a set of stasis where then we're at our best. In addition to that, we have the mental alertness, the coping ability, all these other things that everybody knows about, but even things that we don't know about. And I have a friend who's one of his buddies was a PhD researcher, and his whole research thesis was on sleep and sleep deprivation. And what he found is not only does it affect your ability to function and think and all that other stuff, but it actually affects your longevity. You don't live as long if you don't sleep. And I can't, I have no evidence of any of this kind of stuff, but my own mother ended up having a stroke, and she worked third shift. She was a nurse that worked 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. She was supposed to come home and sleep, but with kids in the house and she wanted to make sure we were off to school, she was a bit of a control freak. She never went to bed. She'd go to bed at 11, and then I get home from school at 2 or 3, she'd wake up. So she, for years, went without sleep and ultimately had a stroke in her early 70s. And I believe she was starting to experience some dementia before that a lot of it is attributed to that. I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened, but I think that accelerated the process. So the point is, I've said my piece about sleep. I think sleep is super important. We need to target at least 7 hours for our mental and physical health. Now, there may be days where we have to shortchange that. That's okay, but not consistently. Consistently, we need to shoot for at least 7, up to 9. I personally don't need more than 8. If I get more than 8, I'm a little like, anyway. But 7 for me is a perfect number. Figure out what it is for you and go for that number. And if you start falling short a little bit because you've been busy, prioritize it the next day so you get back on track, you get your biorhythm back. That is super important, and that's why I spent so much time on sleep, because it makes a big difference in our preparedness to handle the day. The second element of it is exercise. We need regular physical activity because it helps reduce stress, it improves our mood, it improves it fixes our blood pressure, our cholesterol levels, all the health indicators, reduces your risk of heart disease, all these other kinds of things. It boosts energy levels. So we want to be exercising in a routine. That's the key. Not something that every once in a while we fit it in so we feel good about ourselves, but that we schedule it into our day. Even if it's 20 minutes on lunch, right? We go for a walk around the block while we eat our sandwich, whatever it is. Get at least 20 to 30 minutes in every single day, at least 3 to 4 days a week. Shoot for 5, but 3 to 4 minimum. I personally like weight training. I'm going to start integrating a little bit more cardio into mine. And I got my workout down to a really succinct thing where I can get in and out of the gym in 35 to 40 minutes. And so by doing that, I get a really powerful full body workout, but at the same time, it doesn't take me all day. You don't need to be in the gym for 2 hours a day. And I go 4 to 5 days a week. I think it's a perfect schedule, whether it's aerobics, running, biking, jogging, yoga, whatever. But it's super important that we do that. It rejuvenates our body, it rejuvenates our mind, and it also makes sure that all of our functions and systems are running really well. The third piece of that sort of triangle, sleep, eat, exercise is eat. Eating healthily, because nutrition plays a significant role in our health. Again, do we have to sometimes hit the drive-thru and grab a burger and fast food? Of course. That's totally fine, totally normal, happens to everybody. But the key is to eat more whole foods than anything else. So if you don't have time to cook, I don't have a lot of time to cook. I would love to be able to barbecue every night or grill or cook for my kids or whatever. I don't always have time to do it. I'll go over to Whole Foods. I'll buy the 4 pre-made grilled pieces of salmon. So I've got whole food that I can offer and roast up some green beans or eat some raw green beans with it, whatever. and a baked potato. It literally takes 15 minutes to prepare. You microwave the fish, you throw the baked potato in an oven for an hour, and you wash off the green beans, you're ready to eat. And if you eat healthy meals 4 to 5 times a week, you can get away with some junk food here and there. You can get away with some fast food. But you'll be amazed how different your body even feels. Energy level wise, every single thing else. All of your systems run better. It reduces blood pressure, reduces cholesterol, all that other kind of good stuff. And the fact of the matter is, I know that, when I used to weight train pretty heavily, and I got to a point where I was in my very early 40s, and everything was sort of creaking and croaking. I had like a stiff elbow and a wobbly knee, and I thought, geez, I guess I got to start to scale back on all of it because I have all these aches and pains. I'm only 40. I thought I was a little bit young for this, for being as active as I am. It was my diet. When I changed my diet, my son actually got hurt playing soccer. He pulled his hamstring. And when we went to the physical therapist, the guy said he needs lots of whole food, pure protein. So I started grilling more fish, grilling more chicken. Not a lot of red meat, but some of that too, but whole foods, not processed foods. And when I started doing that, he was able to heal up. But what I noticed for myself, just inadvertently, is all that stuff went away. My elbow started to feel better. My knee felt better. I never felt better in my entire life than when I started eating whole foods. So eating balanced meals, rich in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole foods, whole grain, replace any refined sugars and like white bread with like whole grain bread, stuff like that. You'd be amazed the difference that it has on your energy level and overall well-being. Another thing that we need to do as entrepreneurs is we need to manage our stress. We all have very high levels of stress. It's natural, and not all stress is bad stress. It's okay to have stress when that stress is motivating, when it's empowering, when it's energizing, when it helps you focus. Where it becomes unhealthy is when it's persistent and constant, or it gets to a point where it gets debilitating, where we're consumed by stress and anxiety to a point that we shut down instead of functioning. So it's not that we want to avoid stress, it's that we want to manage the stress. We want to make sure that we are, focusing that stress in a productive way. And if we start to get a sense that we're getting a little bit too stressful, then we want to do something, physically exercise, meditate, do some yoga, go for a walk, spend time in nature. It's amazing the effect that nature has on our mind and on our psychological well-being. When we're out in nature, there's something about it where it just lowers all of our anxiety and it makes us feel better. If you don't believe me, go for a walk in the park. It has an absolutely amazing calming effect. There's something about being out in nature, and it makes a big, big difference. In fact, Finland has been ranked the happiest country in the world the last several years running. And even when they don't win, it's one of the countries right near them, one of the Nordic countries. And one of the top 5 reasons they give for that is they spend a lot of time in nature. A lot of time in nature. Even though it's cold, a lot of stuff that's done in Finland is outdoors. It's in nature. And that has a dramatic impact on our health and our well-being. So it's super important that we do that we use techniques like mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, whatever it is. And if we need to, seek professional support because we need to be able to manage our stress in a productive way. Along the lines of that, you could sort of be like 4A and 4B or whatever, is practice mindfulness and gratitude. Gratitude, I have found for me personally, I'm not a yoga guy. Not that I don't believe in it, I just don't do it. I do some stretching, but I'm not a big meditation guy either. I've never really just been into that much. But I'm a big, big believer in gratitude. I believe that when you sit and you think about things that you're truly grateful for, and you get yourself into the state of feeling that gratitude, not just thinking about it, but actually feeling and letting that gratitude radiate from your body, it affects your entire mood. It affects your entire well-being. And in fact, by the way, studies have been done on that as well, scientifically proven that having an air of gratitude and expressing gratitude has an actual biophysical impact on our brain chemistry. So it absolutely does matter. And when we incorporate that into our daily routines, where we stop a couple times a day for 60 seconds, 120 seconds to just think about something we're grateful for and feel that gratitude, or stop for a few minutes and be mindful. Just be aware of all of our surroundings. Be aware of being present in the moment. Push everything else out of our mind and do that a couple times deliberately in the middle of our routines. It helps reduce stress and improve emotional well-being. And the more we practice it, the better we get at it, and the more natural our state becomes, better managed and more even keeled. It's amazing. So if need be, you can write in a gratitude journal. I actually just do it in my own head, but either way is fine. And it can also give you a more positive outlook on life, and it helps you feel better about everything that's going on. It makes you feel better about your business, and it fosters a healthier mental state. Another thing along those lines, and it can be combined with the last one, is take breaks. Deliberate, scheduled breaks. We work, and we work a lot. But studies have shown time and time again that we work at our best when we work in focused blocks of time followed by breaks. No one can work nonstop for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, hardly even taking a lunch, and be productive at a high level that whole way. There's just no way. It's physically and scientifically impossible. So the best way to do it is to take deliberate breaks that are scheduled in. It lets us recharge, it lets us refresh, it lets us reset, start over, and clear our mind, and then hit it again hard for the next 45 to 55 minutes. And when we work in that way, where we take deliberate scheduled breaks, we get the breaks that we need, and we don't feel guilty about them because they're built into our schedule. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually very valuable and healthy. They also can help prevent burnout, increase our productivity, and help us maintain our mental health. So even short pauses are better than nothing. Another thing that we want to do is set boundaries. And by this, I mean work-life balance. So oftentimes, if we work from our own house, it's very hard to have balance because our personal life spills into our business life spills into our personal life, and on it goes. But it's super important to either have a designated place where you work and then time that you shut off from that, or deliberate time away. Now, it doesn't need to be at the end of the day. For me, because I have kids with activities during the day, a lot of times my break time is in the middle of the day. I go pick them up from school, we go to sports or activities, I hang out at their practice, I'll walk around in the sunshine while I hang out there waiting for them. That is a break for me. I'm off for 3-4 hours or whatever, and then I might work some more at night. Whatever schedule works better. But the important thing is that you set boundaries where you have time to yourself, time for your family, time for your friends, and time for just you. You want to play a video game, binge watch some TV, engage in that hobby, whatever it is that you want to do, go for it. Just relax, that's totally fine. Watch the big game. Anything, it doesn't matter, but schedule in that time. The more we schedule the stuff, even though scheduling feels like it's imprisoning, it's the opposite, it's liberating. Because now we know we've got breaks coming, so we don't get overwhelmed. Another thing we can do, and this is a sneaky little one, but it's actually more important than it might sound, is to stay hydrated. Drinking enough water is vital to our overall health. Water helps cleanse our system. It helps all the other internal systems in our body work better. So when we drink a lot of water, it helps maintain our energy level, it helps maintain our appetite, and it also just helps us keep our bodies healthy. It passes all the toxins and everything else through our bodies, so we're less likely to get sick, and everything else runs better. All of our organs run better and everything else. So a bunch of glasses of water. What I do is keep a little tumbler on my desk with me, and I just drink it constantly. When it gets empty, I go down, fill it up again, throw some ice in there, and do it again all day long. So I don't know exactly how much I drink, but I reach for it every time I want it, and I drink a lot throughout the day. Another element outside of our own selves is to seek social support. It's very important to have a support network of friends, family, peers, whatever, that can provide us emotional support, help us reduce our stress, and give us a sense of belonging. When we feel like we belong, we're much more happy and feel much more at peace and balance in our lives. Also, it gives us a safety net. Sometimes in business and in life, things don't go our way. When those are the only things that we've got cooking, and our business isn't going well and our personal life isn't going well, we feel terrible because we don't have anything else to fall back on. We've dedicated our whole lives to that, and it's not working out the way we want. When we have a support network with friends, with other things going on, it helps us shift our perspective, recognize our value, recognize there is value in other things, and be grateful and happy to have those associations. It also just gets our mind off of stuff. So if we're networking with entrepreneurs, they can also give us other unique insights, shared experiences. They can share struggles they've been through. So we recognize we're not in it alone. And the last thing is, believe it or not, regular health checkups. It's super important that we do regular visits to our healthcare providers so we can prevent any issues from occurring in the first place, or at least cut them off quickly so we're able to work at our best. Look, nobody wants to have health problems, but ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It makes them worse. And by the time we address them, sometimes they're a big, big problem. So if we're proactive with that and we go to the dentist, we go to the doctors that we need to go to, we can head off at the pass anything that might be a potential issue and hopefully resolve it before it becomes a bigger issue. Also, we get the peace of mind of knowing that we're in good health when we have a good checkup. So that is really important as well. So all of those things, if we adopt these health practices, it can help us as entrepreneurs maintain our health and enable us to better manage our businesses and lead more fulfilling lives. So the takeaway here is that as entrepreneurs, we need to be in top form as often as possible. We all have stress and endure heavy workloads and mental, emotional, and psychological burdens at times. So we need to have all of our reserves and all of our faculties to be able to work through all of that and thrive. When we aren't 100%, it's hard to give 100%, and then everything suffers. When we take care of ourselves, we minimize problems from cropping up, and we both feel good and perform at our peak at the same time.